Alright, how's it going everybody? So in this video we'll be doing the first couple steps of starting our project, Replicate1. Okay, what you guys would see is after we do a lot of stuff in the formative, at the very end of the formative, we'll come back to Google Classroom and begin our Replicate1. This document right here, I open this one up. Okay, this is step-by-step instructions. Okay, step-by-step instructions. So it'll be telling us how to do it step by step. And your first set of instructions, this should be familiar now. We've done it once. You're going to create a new 2D project and change the project name to first name, last name, underscore, unit 1A replicate. Okay, you'll see often sometimes if you're using a local Unity. That's what we're doing. It says change the location to your desktop. Okay, so this is just the desktop folder we created. Okay, so we've been through this step, okay, before. So you're creating a new project, okay, and it's called first name, last name, underscore, unit 1A, replicate. Make sure you capitalize things, the first letter in every word, okay. Again, this is saved in your desktop folder that we created last week. Okay, make sure it goes in there with that name. Okay, and so today we're going to cover importing assets. Okay, so it says we're going to download the Unit 1A assets Unity package. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, matter of fact, I do it right here in the little step. I've already done it, so what I need to do is I need to delete it and do it again for you guys. Okay, so here's my desktop. There's my folder, unit 1. See, I've already created. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay, because I'm going to do it again. And actually, I don't need to delete that whole thing, do I? No, what I need to do is put that back. Okay, what I need to delete is the package. I already did, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to get that thing right out of there. Okay, so we'll take it from here. You've already created your Unity project. It's in your desktop, your folder, Unit 1, with the title. Oh, look at that. I didn't even spell my name right. Oh, well. We'll take care of that later. Anyways, this is the folder you just created, the replicate folder. All right, so we're going to go through that process right now. So here's my hub. There's my misspelled name. Okay, and we're going to open this project. All right. So there's my project, okay, but I need to import this assets file. So how you do that is if we go back here to Google Classroom, okay, and there's your Unity Assets pack, so you click on that. There's no way to download it from here, so what you do is you click on these three dots, you say open a new window, and then here's where you click on the download button, and then a folder should appear. It says where do you want to save this. You're going to save it in your desktop, your Unity folder, Unit 1, and of course this new project you created. Mine, obviously, I'm now Mr. Brava. Okay, there we go. So this is where I'm going to create it. I'm going to save it right there. You see it already has a title. You just save. Okay, then that takes care of that step. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this window. I can just backspace here. Still in Google Classroom. I actually probably don't need this, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that, and I'm going to follow the instructions. So I saved my assets. It's inside my folder. Now I got to import it into Unity. Okay, so get my Unity folder here. Let's import that. Make this just a little bit bigger. So you remember importing. Basically, you click on Assets. You're going to import custom package, okay, and then you're going to find that that folder. So this is the last one we did, so I need to click on Unity 1, my misspelled name there. Oh, and it should be there. It's not there. Okay, why is it not there? Well, this may have happened to you. So here's what you need to do. I'm going to cancel for right now. I'm going to open my folder. Okay, there it is, Replicate1. You notice there's a .gz. Okay, well, I need to get rid of that gz, so I'm going to just get rid of that. Okay, I'm going to press enter. It's going to say, do you want to change the extension? Yes. Okay. So notice it goes to the Unity package. Sometimes that happens with a Google Doc. It puts that extra .gz in there because it's a Google zip file. It's a compressed file. And we just get rid of that .gz and we will be okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go Assets, Import Package, Custom Package. I'm going to go to my Replicate folder and see, there it is. Now it appears. I'm going to say Open. And then you're going to get all these things here. So do you want to import all this stuff? Yes, we want all. We can click all just in case. And you see it's got a lot of stuff in here. A lot of stuff. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click Import. Now it's importing everything. It's compiling scripts. And it should go right here in our Assets folder. Okay, so give it a second. All right, it's getting everything in there. So now you'll see in the Assets folder you have this Unit 1A Assets. You can click on it and you'll see in the front there's a bomb, an explosion. There's actually all kinds of things in here. Here's some standard assets. Okay, cross-platform input, editor, particle systems, utilities. But a bunch of stuff in here, and we'll get to these later, but we're going to start out really simple first. So we're going to just start out with our, our Unity 1 Assets folder and these things right here. Okay, so what do we do next? So let's go back to our guide. Okay, so we've located the downloaded package file. Right, we created it. We had this window. We imported it. Okay. And we saw the assets folder. We just looked at it right there. Okay. Just remember, an asset is any file that is or can be used as a part of a game, including sprites, music, sound effects, and scripts, little programs. Okay. And the assets folder, labeled B right here, is the folder in the project window that contains all the assets you can use in a game. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up our scene. Okay. Go down here. All right. It says in your project window, open the Unit 1 Assets folder by double-clicking on it. Okay. Then drag the bomb asset from the project window into the scene window. All right. So you can click down here on your Unity program. Let's go ahead and do that. Again, if I'm following the instructions, it says just double-click this folder. And there it is. So we're going to drag this bomb right here into our scene. Okay. I'm going to make my scene a little bit bigger. I'm just using my mouse wheel. I'm going to use the hand tool. This is the, you can center it, okay, and I'm going to go back. I don't need the hand tool anymore. That's the move tool. Okay, we got a bunch of tools here, resizing tool. Anyways, there's my bomb, okay. My bomb is right here. Notice I got the name bomb right there. That's a game object, okay. So now I got this game object, and with it selected, you can see it recognizes it as a sprite, okay. Has some interesting information here. Okay. Let's see what we're going to do next. Well, okay, so we got our bomb, we got our game object, we dragged it into the window. Okay. And you saw in the hierarchy window, which is right there, it lists all game objects currently present in the scene. Okay. So, all right. And our bomb is in the middle. It is in the view of the main camera. Okay. All right. So let's go down here and see what we're going to do. It says the inspector window, right there, displays information about the currently selected game object, including its position and other components. Okay. So if we look in that inspector window, we see, right, if we change between the bomb and the main camera, we get components attached to our game object. In this case, we have transform, like everything does, sprite renderer, and this default material. Okay. All right, let's go back here Says click and select bomb game object in the hierarchy window. Its information will be displayed in the inspector. Okay, and again, we just talked about all this stuff. You got position, X, Y. We don't really care about Z. Rotation, scale. Okay, and we got some information about here about the sprite. What we're going to do is we're going to change the position in the transform menu, transform component to 0, 0, 0. Okay, so depending upon where you put yours, it may have a different location, but we want to center it up. So we're going to go to our scene here, and we are going to put in a 0 for X, a 0 for Y, and Z is already 0. Okay, and now our game object is centered. Now notice the center is right here. So the center of this image is actually right about there. Okay, so there's our game object centered in the window. Okay, so we got it centered. And what we want to do here is we want to save our scene. Okay, save our scene, and we're going to rename it in the same way we named our project. Okay, so this is how you rename a scene. Rename a scene. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go over to our scene here. Okay, we are going to first do a save. Again, you can just do save right there, or you can type in Control S. Okay, so this is saved. But we're going to rename our scene. So if I click on, you see right here it says sample scene. We don't want that. We want it to be the same naming convention of our project. So if I click on assets here and double click on scenes, you see there's the sample scene right there. Well, if I right click on this, there's a place to rename. So I'm going to rename it right here. Spell my name right this time. Anthony Barba underscore. This is unit 1A replicate. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter. Then it says the open scenes have been modified externally. Do you want to reload the scenes? You can just click reload, that's fine. Or you can click ignore, it doesn't really matter. But now you'll notice the scene is the same here as my project name, right? And that's going to help us out because it's going to be one less thing we're going to have to type when we export our assets. So at this point, your project should look just like this. You can do another save again just to make sure everything's saved, or hit a Control S. And I believe that's where we're going to end today. In our next lesson, actually, we're going to create an empty game object. I think that's one thing we can do too. Let's create the empty game object, and then we will we'll stop right there. Okay. All right. This will be our next lesson. So let's create an empty game object. Okay. Create an empty game object. So we're going to go to the top of our hierarchy window, and we're going to click the Create button, and we're going to select Create Empty. And a game object will appear in the window. Let's go up here. So if I right click right here, notice there's no selection. Okay, I have to go down here to game object, and I have to create empty. Okay, so I'm right clicking on my scene, going down to game object, create empty. Notice there's a game object right there. It's highlighted. Okay, and we're going to give it a name. Okay, so we've done this step. An empty game object is an invisible game object that has no image attached to it. Okay, so that's what a game object is. So we're going to this is right click or control click for the Mac. This game object and select rename. Okay, right now ours should be highlighted, but if it wasn't, we could just right click on it and rename it, and we were going to call it Game Manager, all one word, and press enter and return. Okay, so see, mine's not even selected, but I can right click on it, rename, and we're going to call it Game Manager. Okay, click enter. All right, so now we got a Game Manager object, and you can see there's nothing in there, but the reason why we create this game object is because in most games we need something to manage the game, like how the player's score increases, how enemies are destroyed, things like that. We need something to manage the overall game, okay, how the game plays. So usually we have this game manager object, and we build scripts on that. Okay, so we got our game manager. Okay, it says keep the game manager selected. Click the Add a Component button in the Inspector window. Type in audio in the search bar and click on the audio source in the drop-down menu. Okay, so we're going to add a component. We're going to add an audio source. Okay, so if I go here, again, my game manager is selected, right? You want to be sure that's selected. I'm going to add component, and if I just type in AUD, right, already I can see down here is this audio source. So I'm going to click that audio source. That's what I want. And now we have this audio source here. Okay. So the audio source is basically we're going to attach, eventually we're going to attach a sound of an explosion. Okay. So when we make the bomb explode, we get a sound. All right. So it says we will use this audio source to play an explosion sound effect. Click on the circle next to the audio clip. Okay. All right. So if we click on this circle here, we're going to select an audio clip, and it's called Explosion 01. It says make sure the Assets tab is selected. Okay. But what is an audio source? Well, you can think of an audio source as a set of speakers. Okay. An audio clip as your phone loaded up with the sound you want to play. So it's like some speakers, and we're going to tell it what we want it to play. Okay. So let's go ahead and attach this explosion. All right. So if I do that here, right here, audio clip, there's none selected right now, but if I click this little circle and I click on assets, say assets, in other words, it's searching my assets folder here, okay? It found an explosion 01 sound. So I'm going to click on that, okay? And I'm good. And that's all I needed to do. I can close that. And now I have an explosion sound attached to my game manager. Okay, my game manager. It's not attached to the bomb, it's attached to the game manager, because that's where we are going to play the sound from. All right, so we did that. We got the explosion 01 connected. There's only one thing left to do. Okay, we have to uncheck play on awake. Okay, if you do not uncheck play on awake, the audio will always play as soon as the game starts, and we only want the audio to play when the bomb is exploded. That's basically what we're going to be learning here. Okay, so we want to go back here and we want to make sure, you know, with the game manager selected in this audio source, we want to uncheck play on awake. Okay, and that pretty much ends today's lesson. I guess I could say something further. This explosion, if you want to find out where that is, if we go on Unit 1 Assets, it's right there in the beginning, right? That's the one sound we have in there. And if you want to hear what it sounds like, I could just highlight this, okay? And I don't know if you can hear this. Let's see. Okay, that's the sound. That's the sound of the bomb exploding, okay? That's what it sounds like, okay? So that's how you can tell what it sounds like, is just by selecting it. If we select this bomb, and the inspector just gives information about the bomb, okay? And pretty much anything we select on down here, it'll just say what it is, what properties Unity can get from it, okay? And then selecting up here, this is actually where we're designing stuff. So we have this audio source and explosion connected in there. You see there's lots of other things like priority, like another how loud it is, volume, again that's another how loud it is, pitch, stereo pan, centered right now, spatial blend, 3D sound settings. Well, we probably won't use that, but that's well, it's kind of like an EQ. Okay. We also have the output. This should be none. Audio mixer group. We got to mute bypass effects, bypass listener effect, bypass reverb zones. We won't ever use any of that. Play on awake. Again, we don't want that selected. Otherwise, as soon as the game starts, you'll hear that sound. And then a loop would be for sounds that we want continually going on. Okay, like I don't know, maybe we're connecting soundtrack to our game as we're playing, and we want it to keep looping. Okay, so that's what that would be for. Anyways, that's the end of today's lesson. This is what we needed to accomplish, and after the next lesson, which would be right now, we are in. Oh, I closed my Google. We're in lesson 1.3a. So after 1.3b, we'll do a little bit more, and then at 1.4a is where we actually finish this activity and turn it in. All right, so hopefully this helped. We'll see you guys later.